If you're watching this video for guaranteed wind and snow load rating, you're not going to get it. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why that's actually a very good thing. When you see a collapsed hoop house online, you're only seeing the outcome. What you're not seeing is the site, the install, the maintenance, or the decisions that led up to that moment. And sometimes a severe weather event just is not going to be in your favor. Wind and snow loads are not product specs, they are site outcomes. To generate a stamped load rating, a licensed in your state structural engineer must model the structure using professional structural analysis software, combined with building code data and site inputs tied to one physical address. That calculation exists by things you can't see in a photo or in product specs. We're talking soil types and load-bearing capacity, exact geographic location and elevation, terrain and exposure. We're talking about open field versus a sheltered field, nearby trees, buildings, and windbreaks, orientation of the structure to prevailing winds, historical local wind maps and snow data, and how the structure is anchored, and if that material is correctly installed. And because the structural engineer stamp has actual liability, these numbers tend to be very conservative. If a failure occurs, the engineer could be accountable. That legal responsibility is why stamped low ratings cost real money and why they are address specific. To get structural engineered stamp plans, you're looking at anywhere from $1,200 to $6,000. And for a hoop house that costs about that same or roundabout, it just doesn't make any sense. And that's why you will never see any hoop house manufacturer, us or anybody else, say that this particular hoop house has been rated. Now, we do have a rating on ours, and that was for one very specific site location. As a double check, we share that information. But that wind load rating is not going to be what is going to happen at your site specifics because of everything we've already talked about. Aside from the cost of a hoop house, you're also looking at several weeks of work on the engineering side after you find when to actually take the project on, which I can tell you from past, it's very hard to find somebody that is used to working with these and that will accept that job. It's just a very long process to get done, and you may miss the entire season. So we're talking about hoop houses that are for agricultural use, a single family, a couple of employees. You're going to grow plants under there. There's no plumbing, there's no electrical. And because we make our own hoop houses right here in the United States, but they ship all over the states, us and any other manufacturer, there's no way we can attach a universal spec across the board, no matter how much somebody wants it. Instead, Bootstrap Farmer relies on real-world experience and real-world historical ways that hoop houses are put up. And what every manufacturer does is they put their own take on it and how they decided to make their particular hoop house kit better. For us, that is controlling the entire supply line and the fabrication and using all metal kits and having a bunch of different options that you can really tailor it to your area. So when we inevitably get the question is how much wind and snow load can your kits take? That depends on the site, the location, what we put into it on our side, and how you build it on your side. And I just hope that you're building everything to spec as per the instructions. Let's take a look at the reality of snow. Snow is a static load. It changes. You see, there's dry snow, there's wet snow, there's light fluffy snow, there's heavily packed snow, there's powder snow, there's crushed over snow, there's squeaky cold snow. And a hoop house can be fine in the morning, but by the time it actually gets wet when the sun comes out or freezes over when it gets colder, that adds to the weight dynamic of the live load. And because of that, snow removal is a responsibility of the farmer, not a design workaround. Snow must be cleared away from the roof and pushed away from the sidewalls. Do not allow snow to pile up next to the hoop house. While Gothic profiles and metal components help shed snow and buy time, they do not replace removal. No hoop house is set it and forget it in snow country. And if you've ever dealt with a lot of ice and snow, list your favorite tips. A lot of people use a rope, a lot of people use a squeegee or other methods to get that off of there. We always love hearing how people are doing that. Please leave that in the comments below and help your other farmers. And if you see this wood end wall and you want to know how this can be affected by wind and snow, I'm going to have a whole video about wood construction end walls in a couple of weeks. Let's talk about wind. It's not a single force, it's variable, and it tends to move around in a wind event. Straight line winds, gust, pressure difference, turbulence, and uplift all act on a hoop house differently. Wind doesn't just push on a structure, it tends to twist it and push it over and move the hoop house in a bunch of different ways. A hoop house that looks fine in calm conditions can experience very different forces when wind hits the broadside instead of end on. and gusts can load one end of the structure more than the other. Now, if you look at our location, we have this big open field and the prevailing winds are always coming from the south. Now, that kind of worked out for us. Not only are we oriented north and south, which we should do down here in Texas where we're at, but it also means that the end walls are getting the most wind exposure, particularly on the south side. So what we're doing is we're adding things like the wind braces on the corners and doing some extra bracing on that side. We are building these to our full potential, but we know going into it that we have this big exposure that if we had a tree line or another building or something like that, we probably wouldn't have to worry about it as much, but we are going to build it as strong as we possibly can. More often than not, if you have any problems with your hoop house in a wind event, it's likely not the frame or the plastic like a lot of people assume. It's because every single one of us included, have these junk piles. Whenever shingles or any other debris hit the plastic and cause a hole, that puncture allows wind to go inside the tunnel and hit against the surface of the hoop house from the inside, especially the other side of the plastic where there may not be a hole. And that causes some of that internal upward pressure, and that's where a lot of people have a lot of trouble. And that's why in a big windstorm, we do suggest that you roll the sides down so wind doesn't get up under there and basically turn that into a big sail to lift it up. If we're choosing to use hoop houses that have been built, I don't think there's anywhere in the country you can drive to and within 20 minutes not see a hoop house or two. If they're in your area, they survive. And a lot of times, if you see a hoop house that's dilapidated or the plastic's off, it's probably been like that for a lot of years. We don't know how it was built. We don't know the circumstances in which that farmer had his stuff. And don't judge your experience based off somebody else's problems. And although we can't give you a snow and wind load rating, we can show you how some of these components work together. We have a kit that's just barely up with no bracing whatsoever, and then we'll take you to another hoop house that's a little closer to finished and show you how some of these components work real quick. So I'll be covering ground post in a video that's upcoming pretty quick, so I'm kind of going to skip that. But if we just have a hoop by itself, and this is a 30-foot hoop, the only thing we have on is the baseboard. Now, if we do not have a ridge pole, which every single kit needs a ridge pole, they all come with it here, but if you don't have that, think of each individual hoop as a separate component. And if you see that swaying up at the top, that means an uneven wind distribution or snow distribution without a spine keeping that all aligned. Let's go take a look with one installed. You still have movement back and forth, but if you'll notice, everything's moving as a complete unit. Beyond the ridge pole, we also have purlins on this kit. And that takes this central bracing and extends it down and kind of helps protect the whole house going side to side. That side to side movement as a whole means that any wind force is going to be evenly distributed. If we're talking about movement side to side, the width of the hoop house, so not the length that's raking back and forth, things like the horizontal bar and trusses help with that movement. Let's take a look. So although the house moves, again, it moves as a complete structure. So the prevailing winds usually come this way. If the winds happen to come this way, it's still moving as a full unit. If you think about something being very stiff, it's easy to push over. But if you have a little bit of flexibility, you can move back and forth and evenly plant, especially with a hoop house. Just like my feet, we're at a wide stance and we can take that. Now, before I said that we have this prevailing wind and that the end walls are going to take most of the hit. And so a lot of times we'll have some north winds, the south wind. So I'm going to show you both sides of that. If we attach the wind braces up at the top and direct some of that force, especially from the very top, all the way down to the ground post, that's taking some of that load that if you didn't have it was just going to be pushing on the end wall and that was going to take all the hit. But now that we have this brace, on both sides, it's not only directing that force down into the ground post. Let's take a look. But we're also taking those same forces and running those on the purlins and the ridge pole. So that's wind, and let's think about snow the same way. If we just had the very most basic of kits and we just had a ridge pole and a hip board, we're talking about this mass right here that even though it's covered with plastic, it's having to shoulder a lot of that snow weight. But since we're here with the extra purlin here and with different braces like the truss braces and the horizontal bars, we have all these connection points. And if you'll see, a lot of them are at triangles or at cross pieces to kind of help take any force. So if a force hit here, it's going to get distributed along the whole side of not only the bow, but these individual pieces that all take those downward forces and run all the way through the pipes down to the ground for that even wind load and snow load distribution. So if you're like everybody else out there and you believe that you live in the windiest part of the country, go ahead and give us a call. We're not going to be able to give you definite wind and snow load ratings, but through experience, and listen, as a company, we don't want to see your house fail either. So you're gonna tell these tech people, this is where I'm at, this is my wind exposure, this is the type of soil that we have, and this is the type of winds we typically get. And they're gonna help look at your location on a map and help determine, do you need crossbars, do you need trellis parts, do you need extra purlins, or because we don't wanna sell you anything we don't need, hey, this is actually a pretty calm area despite the fact that sometimes you get winds and you're probably going to be okay. And so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there's a universal snow and wind load rating. But what I will say is that we know how to build hoop houses and we know how to build them in the United States. And so we know where they fail and how to strengthen them. And the only way to do that properly is to talk to somebody with years of experience, like the people on our tech team, and to talk to you, the farm owner. And we're going to determine what your wind exposure is. We're going to look at historical data, and we're going to talk to you about what you're going to do on your farm and what the site looks like. And we're going to design you a hoop house right the first time for years and years of reliable operation. So go ahead and visit us at bootstrapfarmer.com. Thanks for watching.